4 on May 10th, 2021. The first thing on the, there's somebody just came in. Okay. And the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of April 14th, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll motion to accept.
Okay, and a second? Can I second or?
Yes, you can. I was going to say, you're going to have to do that, Jim.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passed. I'm not sure whether we're going to have any public participation. If not, we'll move on to the items for discussion. And I'm first on the items for discussion. The Highland Valley Elder Services report. Tina, did I send you a copy of the Protective Services presentation made?
You did.
Okay.
You did. I have not had a chance to look it over, but you did send it to me.
Okay, and Sierra Bradley did a presentation on Highland Valley Elder Services, Protective Services. And, you know, they mainly investigate and respond to conditions placing individuals over 60 years old at risk, and they provide services to address those risks. The Elder Abuse Hotline is 1-800-922-2275. And everything is confidential. And the reportable conditions that they do investigate are physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, self-neglect, and financial exploitation. And I was a little surprised. The most common condition is self-neglect.
Yep.
So I just learned that. When Protective Services receives a call, they will respond within 48 hours, and then they provide the appropriate services. They provide the appropriate service options, interventions, education, and support. Okay, any questions about Protective Services? And does anybody else?
The phone number?
The phone number is 1-800.
Yep.
922-2275.
Thank you.
And does anybody else want me to send this to them?
Jim, I just want to make one comment.
Yep.
And that is that phone number, that 1-800 phone number, is now a central number to Boston. So all Protective Service calls from throughout the state now start in Boston. That was not the case a few years ago. You would call your own ASAP. So in our case, we would call Highland Valley Elder Services. We
Correct.
don't do that and everybody else would call whatever, you know, wherever they were in the state. But the reason that I think they changed it was they wanted to have a tracking system, because otherwise you've got 23 different ASAPs, you know, recording information however they record it. And they kind of wanted to get a better handle on exactly what they were looking at with Protective Service cases. So having it go to the central office and then they farm it out to whatever the appropriate, you know, service area access point is for that particular call. I think it's a better system. I think this is a better system. Plus now you're just dealing with one 1-800 phone number for anybody in the state. So it kind of simplifies that as well. I think it's been, yeah, I think it was a good change.
Okay. And other things that are happening at Highland Valley. The telecommuting employees are starting to come back on a limited basis. And once again, all services continue from Highland Valley. Open positions, there is a care advisor open. There's a nursing physician's assistant open. The HR director and the nutrition director are still open also. And nutrition is still about at 200 take-home meals a day. And overall, there's been about a 30% increase in meals. Now, I hope this is okay to share this information about Hadley Senior Center is going to be open.
They have
And
been open.
I don't know if have you heard that or?
Yeah, they've been open on a limited basis.
Right. I asked, and if an original class was 15 people, they now run it at 6 people. The Hill Towns are going to be setting up a 20 by 30 tent, so they can now have outside services. And I'm pretty sure that's in Chesterfield. And East Hampton is starting a tax write-off program.
Yes, I know. I've been working with them on it.
Good. Okay. I just wanted to announce that. Okay. Are there any questions for me?
I do, and you may not know the answer to this, Jim, but if you could find it out, are the case managers from Highland Valley doing home visits now? Are they actually going in the home yet or not?
Case managers. I'll find out.
Yep.
My initial information that I got, I'll have to check. I don't think they are, but I will call Alan today.
I'm just curious about it,
I'll
just
find
to
out.
kind of see where they are in their process here.
And I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Okay. If there aren't any other questions or comments, the next thing on the agenda is the COVID-19 vaccination update.
Okay, so that would
Yeah.
be me. So I'll
That's you.
give you the latest statistics. So this is as of May 6th. So this was as of last Thursday. So for Westfield, and I believe this also includes Montgomery. So I usually track 3 different age groups. So this 50 to 64 age group, there are a total of 56% of them have had at least one vaccine. All right. And that was an increase from the week before of 3%. For the 65 to 74 range, 75% have now had at least one vaccination shot. That's up 2% from the week before. And my favorite category, my 75 plusers, we are now up to 82% have had at least one vaccine. So they're at least partially vaccinated. That's up 1% from the week before. And I think that this is the trend that I've been saying that we continue to see, which is that 75 plus age range, although we continue to make progress, but it's very slow. But we are getting there. So 82% is, I'm really thrilled about that. We've had there's a lot more availability in Westfield. We have, I think now 5 pharmacies that are doing vaccines. It's much easier for people to get appointments. The site, the Bay State site on Whitney Avenue continues to inform us of when they're doing walk-in clinics, and they're giving us the dates and times of those so that we can get that word out as people call into us, requesting information about that. So we're making progress. I think one of the things that we're starting to run into on the vaccine front is just those that are hesitant or those that are, determined not to get the vaccine. So there's a bit of an education curve going on. On my Wake Up Wednesday cable show on this Wednesday from 6 to 8, I'm going to be having Cecilia Lujan from the State Department of Public Health is going to be doing a program with me on, kind of everything having to do with vaccines, with safety, with availability, kind of answering the most frequently asked questions for those who are hesitant or, just really are not sure about what they want to do. So that's kind of where we are with the vaccine update.
Good. Any questions? Okay, next would be the tax work-off proposed ordinance change, an update on that?
Yep. So I think at the last board meeting, I talked about the fact that I had sent a letter to the mayor requesting that he submit to the council that we increase the maximum benefit from $500 to $800 per participant. And that would necessitate limiting the number of participants and decreasing that number from 40, maximum of 40 people participating in the tax work-off program to 25 people, assuming that the budget will remain the same in the city budget for that, which is $20,000 for the whole program. That was what this board had decided on just pre-COVID. It was about a little over a year ago, pre-COVID, and that was their recommendation. So that got brought up at the council meeting. It was sent to the Legislative and Ordinance Committee. Thanks to Councilor Figge for helping us to move this along. Last Wednesday, I met with members of the L&O. Bill Oniski is the chair. Jimmy Adams was on that committee, and Mike Burns. They actually had a lot of questions for me about this program, and I think just in general. So I gave them a little history of the program, how it's worked over the years, and so forth. So they were supportive of the change that we want to make to the ordinance. They voted favorably for that, took it to council. So it was brought before the full council on Thursday, last Thursday at the May 6th meeting. And the full council did a first reading on it and passed it. So it has to go to second reading because it is an ordinance change. So it will go to second reading on May 20th. And I feel confident that the full city council will pass that. Yeah, Ralph's given us the thumbs up. And so hopefully starting whenever we reinstate the program, which I'm hoping, if it's not, normally it would be starting in September. I'm not sure that that's going to be achievable, but I am hoping that we'll be able to start it sometime next year. And so so that new ordinance will go into effect. So it'll be that the maximum that people can work off is $800, and we'll have fewer participants.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay. Next would be the hybrid model for programs and activities.
So this is probably what everybody's waiting for, what's going to happen? What are we doing here? So the staff has been working diligently for about 6 weeks now on some plans. We are not using the word reopen at all. Neither are most of the other centers, because we don't want to give the impression that, the doors are unlocking and everything goes back to the way it was 15 months ago. That is not going to happen. So we are using, MCOA keeps using the word scaling up of programs as opposed to scaling down. We're just using the hybrid model because, that was something that people are kind of familiar with that. The schools have used it, so I thought that was a good description. So the way our hybrid model is going to work is that at the end of the month, at the end of this month, we will be having a large tent put up out in the parking lot. It'll be a 20 by 40 foot tent. So we will begin to offer, at the beginning of June, we will begin to offer some programs under the tent. We're starting with some selected fitness programs. So we're in the process of working with the fitness instructors and putting the schedule together. All of that will be in the June newsletter. We will continue with curbside lunches through the summer. The reason for that is because the guidelines, and we are, by the way, getting guidelines from, well, we're getting guidelines from the local Department of Health. We're getting guidelines from the governor. We're getting a framework to work within from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. They're not calling them guidelines, they're calling it a framework. So, and then of course we have like our own, just our own Council on Aging, protocols that we have. So there's a lot of planning that has to go into all of this, not just for us, but for all the senior centers, certainly all throughout the Pioneer Valley. So the curbside meal program, right now, the maximum number of people that we could put in the great room is 38. However, that's 38 people just standing or sitting in the great room. If we wanted to do meals in there, the tables have to be 6 feet apart. You can only have people that are related at the same table, but we have a lot of people who come in as singles. So we kind of figured that we'd probably be able to do about 15 to 20 people if we put them in the great room, which doesn't make any sense at all because we can do, last week we did 160 meals curbside for our volunteer tribute. So we will continue with curbside lunches throughout the summer. Then we'll see where things stand in the fall and what the guidelines and the regulations are. So this is all based on, you know, health and vaccine data. So everything is subject to change depending on what happens there. So we are starting to look at, very quietly, very cautiously, bringing back a few programs inside in June to kind of do it as a pilot program, because we need to figure out what works and what doesn't work. So the June programming will be a few targeted programs where people will literally be escorted into the building to a program where they sit. They'll do the program and then they will be escorted out of the building. So we're looking at, you know, rooms, which rooms we can do. Again, we're very restricted for our numbers. So for some of our rooms, we couldn't have more than 6 people, 7 people, 4 people. It depends on the room. So the most that we could do with the space that we have would be 13 for a gathering, because we have to keep part of the great room. You know, since we're doing curbside lunches, we have moved everything onto one side of the great room for lunches, incontinence supplies, all the stuff that we give away at the curb. So so that's where we are right now. So I'm saying that we're going to be doing programs under the tent, under the roof, and at the curb. That's the way it's going to be. And, you know, as we begin to experiment with a few programs, you know, Mary Lou and I have our priority list of those programs that we think would be doable to bring inside, those that we think would be workable under the tent, and then those that we think we could actually do in either place. So we'll be starting with programming on June 1st or 2nd, I believe. The tent will go up the end of May. We have a big Mother's Day luncheon at noontime, and the tent will be put up after that when the parking lot is cleared out. So again, lots of planning has gone into this. There are like thousands, you just can't even imagine all of the details that have to be attended to. We had to get technology in here to show us how to use the portable scanner for my senior center. We've moved things around. We continue to move things around, but that is the plan.
Very good. Are there any questions? Okay, next would be the Westfield Pride Alliance.
So just a very brief note about that, but the Westfield Pride Alliance is a group from Westfield, members of the LGBTQ community. Last year they did a flag raising the Pride flag raising at City Hall in June. They are planning to do so again. Last year was the group was kind of put together very quickly. You'll recall from this board that we had been working on LGBTQ issues for older adults in Westfield prior to COVID, and then everything kind of got put on hold. So I was approached by the Westfield Pride Alliance, WPA, and asked if I would you know, sort of be a part of that group, which I'm happy to do. I will be at the Pride flag raising ceremony on the 1st, and I will be making just some brief comments about, you know, just trying to find those older adults in Westfield who are in the LGBTQ community, but especially those who, you know, maybe in the closet, partially in the closet. They're hard to find, but we want to be able to offer them services through the Council on Aging. So I will be attending that, and there are some other things that they're working on for the month of June. So just to kind of give people a heads up on that.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? Next then are the items for action. And the first item we have is the election of board officers. And I'm pretty sure the process is I will make a motion, I think, to vote for the present Westfield Council on Aging officers, consisting of myself, James Liptak, Chair, Carrie Ann Kalbasa, Vice Chair, Liz Boucher, Secretary, and Barbara Taylor, Treasurer. Um, do I need a second on that motion?
I believe so.
Okay, could somebody make a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion or questions?
Jim, my only would be that I assume that everyone had been approached and is willing to stay in
Yes.
their current office.
Yes,
Perfect.
they were approached and they want to stay in their present office. So next, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? So we're going to be doing this for another year, which is, I'm welcoming that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
I am too, because I think it's going to be a challenging year as we begin
Yes.
to scale things up again.
Yep. Yep. Okay. And then the next item for action would be the instructions for the completion of the signature of authorization form.
So that is something that we have to do every year. It looks like this. You can see it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, usually what we do is the purchasing department needs it. And we usually pass it around the table when we're all in the same room, but we can't
Right.
do that. Last year I had everybody come curbside and sign it. So what I would ask is that if people could, the best time if you want to come between like 11:30 and 11:45 at around lunchtime, anytime within the next week or so, that would be great. If that timing doesn't work out for you, just contact me individually and we'll set up a time when you can just run over and sign off on it so I can get it back to Tammy Teft in the purchasing department.
Very good. I think we should be able to accomplish that in that
Does
time.
everyone sign?
Yes,
All
every
board
board,
members?
yes, every board member has to sign it. Yep.
And we always have to make sure we sign in the proper place.
Yes,
correct?
I'm going to put those little stickies, Jim, for each person who's signing so that you know exactly which line you're signing on.
Not that I've ever signed off in the wrong place.
No, but the problem is if one person signs off in the wrong place, then everybody's all messed up.
Okay, good. Any questions about that? Okay, the next on the agenda would be the director's report.
Right. Okay. So just a review of the programs. So for Channel 15 programming, we did, Harry Rock interviewed me for the Council on Aging Presents series. And the topic was Valued in Creative Aging. What is the recipe? So that's being aired Tuesdays at 2:45 throughout the month of May. It was really a great segment. It was a lot of fun to do it. We aired it for the first time last week, and I got a really nice email from one of our viewers who just thoroughly enjoyed it, already ordered one of the books that I talked about. So I think that one will go over really well. The Way It Used to Be is our musical performance. Richie Mitnick and Joe Samari did that one. So that's being aired Wednesdays at 2:40 and Saturday evenings at 6 o'clock throughout the month of May. So that starts this Wednesday will be the first airing of that. Then it'll be Wednesday afternoon and Saturday evenings. And Joe also puts both of those programs, Pete puts both of those programs throughout. If he has, empty time and he has some space for it, he airs those at other times as well, but it's at least those times. Last Thursday, we did our volunteer tribute curbside turkey luncheon. It went over really well. We invited 19 volunteers who have been really incredibly instrumental and have put in a tremendous number of hours during the last year to attend. We ended up with, I think 13 or 14 of them here. We did kind of like a reverse parade. So we had the volunteers sitting in the parking lot, sort of spaced throughout the parking lot. And then we had the participants just drive through as they do. But it was really nice because they stopped along the way to just talk to the volunteers and thank them. So it was really nice. We had signs up and down Noble Street. We had 160 participants altogether, meal participants. Each volunteer received a certificate of appreciation. And then they got a gift card that was courtesy of the Friends Group, either for Amazon, Pride Gas, or Dunkin' Donuts. And we, Mary Lou and I kind of figured out who we thought would be best for which one. So it was really a nice affair. And I think the volunteers were appreciative. And I know Peter Courier's listening in on that. And I do have some photos that I'll be sending into the Westfield News this week.
I did like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I did like, being in line, being able to talk to the volunteers and thank them for what they're doing for the Council on Aging. It was nice.
Yeah, I think the volunteers really appreciated it too. I think they weren't quite sure when I had described how we were going to do this, what was going to happen. But once we got into it, it's like, hey, this is kind of fun. It was really cool. Plus, I wanted the seniors to see some of the people. I mean, they obviously see the people that help with lunch all the time, but they don't necessarily see, those who help with the brown bag program, those who are working, like Harry Rock is doing the Channel 15 interviews, and the tax people, because the AARP tax volunteers were, like sequestered upstairs in the games room and the multi-purpose room, busily working on taxes, and they never saw them, but, they did, however, whatever we said, like 200 taxes this year. So anyway, that was nice. Our diabetes dialogue, we did, it ended up being a two-parter because it was on What's for Dinner. And so that was a carryover from the month before. And Jen Jafune leads that group. We do it on the third Wednesday of the month on Channel 15. And generally focused on meal preparation as opposed to cooking. Like people who are trying to prepare meals at home, but they really don't cook. So, what can you do that's healthy? And she did a really great job with that. So we finished that one. And then upcoming programs, as I mentioned before, during the vaccine, when I gave the vaccine update, I will be having Cecilia Lujan. She is the Health Communications and Outreach Specialist with the Mass Department of Public Health. And she will be, it's really on COVID-19 vaccine education. So she'll be with me probably for about an hour on the show. We're doing for Mother's Day, we're doing our Come Fly With Us curbside luncheon that will be held on May 27th. So we're doing this airport theme because we feel like we're out there every day, with our carts and our yellow vests, doing traffic flow. So we decided, what the heck, we'll just make it an airport theme. The menu is pot roast with gravy, mashed potatoes, vegetable, and dessert. We'll cap it at $175. I've already had the seniors asking me, like, when can we start signing up for the Mother's Day luncheon? So I expect this will be a big one. And then on June 3rd, we decided to break up the volunteers and do 2 different volunteer tributes. So the one that we did last week was for, as I said, people who helped with taxes, meals, brown bag delivery, things like that. The one on June 3rd will strictly be for Joyce Peregrine's companion volunteers. So she too had about 19 people that have been doing contactless food, grocery shopping and food delivery for the last year. I mean, they were out there finding toilet paper for people, back in March last year. So she's got 19 of those. So we decided to do them separately. We'll do something very similar. And we'll bring them in on June 3rd. The Channel 15 entertainment for June the performer will be John Lucido, who has performed at the Senior Center before when we were actually in the building. He and I are still determining the title of that program and the focus, but anyway, he used to perform as one half of the Spunk and Sass duo that we've had here before, so very popular. The Westfield Council on Aging presents series in June. The focus is going to be the Thrive program, which is a United Way program. It's personal financial coaching. Jen Fernandez will be the guest presenter. Again, that will air Tuesday afternoons throughout the month of June. Jen has been on my radio show talking about Thrive, and she's had we've done a lot of referral to the Thrive program. It's really a great program, especially for people who don't have a lot of experience with, banking and credit and reducing debt. And what we find with our seniors is that oftentimes you've got an older couple, one of them passes away, and then we find out that the one who passed away was one who handled all of the money stuff. And the one who's remaining doesn't know how to even write a check. Believe it or not, that happens more often than you'd think. So anyway, Jen Fernandez will be doing that. And then diabetes dialogue in June, the topic will be heart healthy facts. So that's where we're going with that. So that's the review of programs, the upcoming programs. And again, we are working with some of the fitness instructors. Those will be some of the first programs that we bring back under the tent.
Very good. Are there any questions or comments? Okay. Thank you again, Tina, for what you and your staff do. I think, you know, you're keeping us fed, you're keeping us really informed on what's going on. So I think we all appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And just, you know, just so you know, Jim, I knew all about the other senior centers that you mentioned before. I mean,
Okay.
all of the centers are beginning to scale up their program in some way, shape, or form. Some are a little bit more ahead of the curve. There's so many different factors based on, you know, the layout of your building, because there are still a lot of things that we're mandated to do. And, you know, I got in touch with Joe Rouse over in the health department just to go through some, you know, are we still limited to this? Are we still limited to that? So, you know, everybody's a little bit different, but everybody's working on it. You know, we're all doing something, I think, really beginning like May, June, July. So you'll start to see, you know, different senior centers beginning to scale their programs up.
And I think just in general, being out and going out, people are getting out more. I know we didn't go out to dinner on Mother's Day, but there were a lot of places that were crowded, and so it's good. It's good to see that there is a relaxing, and I think it's going to help people's mental health.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think the thing that we are the most concerned about, and some of the senior centers that have already started scaling up programs have, you know, warned us that, you know, is just trying to keep everyone who's participating understanding that we still have, you know, masks have to be worn inside, you know, even though you might not like it. We are not, I mean, there's been a huge question about vaccination. Are we allowed to ask people if they've been vaccinated? And we're not. Although there have been some senior centers that are, you know, that have kind of taken a different approach. But again, some of that is, you know, based on the comfort level of your town administration and what what they're guiding you to do. So, you know, stay tuned. It's all unfolding.
Yes. Okay. Very good. If there aren't any other questions or comments, our next meeting will be on Monday, June 14th, 2021, at 1 o'clock. It is planned to be a Zoom meeting. And if there aren't any other questions, do I have a motion to adjourn?
No, everybody wants to stay forever.
Well, I'll make a motion to adjourn then.
Somebody's gonna have to make a motion because I don't know if Carrie can, we haven't heard from her, so I don't know if there's an issue.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'm here. I don't know why it's not going through.
Okay. Do we have
I did make a motion.
I lost the audio.
Okay. So I made the, oh, did you make a motion, Liz?
Carrie
No,
did.
I said I lost the audio.
Oh, okay. Did we have a second then?
I'll
Yes.
second.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 That takes care of it. So have a great remaining May, and we'll be seeing each other or hearing each other at the beginning of June.
Okay.